Hello, hello. So today we are breaking down my top three mistakes or lessons I have learned from teaching. Last week, I ignore this chair. Last week, I really was very vulnerable and kind of told you guys all the ins and outs of why I left teaching. So today I am going to express and let you guys know the top three lessons I learned from teaching. And we have a special announcement because this also marks my 2 year YouTube versaries. Woo, 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 woo. I actually had lights. Let's turn on lights. So we do red. Can y'all see the lights a little bit? Might not be as dark enough to see the lights. Okay, but I do have lights and balloons. Maybe I could move so y'all can see the balloons. So I got some balloons, and we also have some blowers to celebrate 2 years. So with this being the 2 year mark, it's also the 7 year mark since my grandmother passed away. So fun fact, I started my YouTube channel the day before my grandmother's like kind of death anniversary. So although so it gives me something positive to celebrate during this time. So today or yesterday marked the 2 year YouTube versary. So I did want to celebrate with you guys. So after I give you my three lessons that I've learned from teaching, we will have a chance to celebrate together. So if you have made any of the mistakes that I mentioned, please let me know down below in the comments which one of these mistakes you have also made. All right, so the first thing that I've learned from teaching, it may be something that a lot of you guys struggle with. My brain is all about making learning as fun as possible through these really engaging activities. But where do you put these activities? You put them in a lesson. So one thing that I really, really struggled with, especially as a new teacher, was not knowing how to properly plan lessons. So, in order to become a teacher, you have to go to college. You have to get your college degree. And you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but in college, I know for me, we had to create these long, and I mean long lesson plans. Like it would take me about 3 or 4 hours to write one lesson plan in college. And so I thought that was going to be like the normal thing. Like I thought you had to have these long lesson plans with all this stuff. And if it was going to take me 5 to 6 hours for one lesson, how in the world would I plan for the entire day and the entire week? And it was going to take way too much time out of my life. So that was one issue that I had going from college to in the classroom is I did not know how to properly plan a lesson. And even with being a mom doing like at home lessons with my daughter, especially now she is at home for 14 days because somebody in her class had the coronavirus. So they shut down her class. So now we are doing preschool at home. Woo! But I thought that lesson plans had to be these long, extraneous things. And yes, there are 12 key components to every lesson that you have to have in order to have a very, proper lesson. But I've learned that lesson plans do not have to take over your life. One mistake I was making was they were taking a lot of my time. Like I was, when I was in the classroom, I would be at school till 8, 9 o'clock every night. That was just normal. Now, granted, I wasn't married, didn't have any kids, so I could do that. But that's what it took in order for me to give my students my all. Like it was long nights every night, and being realistic like that, you can't keep that up. So you end up getting burnt out. You end up experiencing the overwhelm. Let me know down below in the comments. Have you guys ever experienced it? Like either you're going to have to learn how to master your lesson planning process, or your lesson planning process is going to master you. So it's like, who really runs it? Do you run your lesson plans or do your lesson plans run you? So that was like the number one lesson that I've learned. I didn't really know how all the proper parts of a lesson, because in college I had to write these, theses of a lesson. And so I didn't know how to quickly incorporate all the parts of a lesson. And even as a mom, I realized that now I do know how to plan proper lessons, and I can do it in a very quick manner. But I see like so many parents like spend hours and hours and hours searching online for activities and lessons. And think about it, the average teacher spends 12 hours a week just searching for lessons and materials and activities. So that is the number one lesson. Ding, ding, ding. Let me know, have y'all experienced that? The next thing that it kind of like goes hand in hand. Like, so you could spend all this time planning out these really engaging lessons, which I have done. But have you guys ever taught and you did not have enough time to do exactly what you planned? Like, there's been so many times where I spend hours and hours of preparation for a particular lesson, and it ends up I don't have enough time. I over planned, so that's another mistake. Freebie right there. You guys can tell I just ate, so I have a lot of energy. But you like overly plan. You have too many things that you want to do, and you don't know how to effectively execute that. So you end up running out of time. And unfortunately, you're like, oh, kids, I had this for y'all to do. I had this for y'all to do. Do this. And realistically, you don't know how to like plan for that amount of time. Because that runs to my mistake number 2 that I've learned. Like, my lesson was having consistency with my like daily schedule was the trick in order to really having an effective lesson, because I had to learn how to manage my time. I had to actually have a schedule that I ran versus a schedule that ran me. Yes, I'm doing that a lot today. But I constantly used to always say, I don't have enough time. I don't have enough time. Oh, wait, I see all these teachers. Do y'all get on Pinterest? Let me know. Do y'all get on Pinterest? Like, do you get on Pinterest and like look up learning things? Like, I look at all this stuff and I'm like, how do you have enough time to do this? That's all I want to know. Like, what time do you have to prepare this, great, like you're teaching Christopher Columbus, you make your entire room into a ship. What time did you have to do all that? I want to know. But having a consistent schedule kind of ended that I don't have enough time that I felt like I had. I had to find what worked best for me. And for me, I came up with a systematic way of doing like kind of automating my teaching time. So that really, really, really helped. So the tip I want to give you with that is feel free to change up your schedule as needed. If it right now it is October, if you have been teaching or you're at home and you're like, I can't get consistent with this schedule, plug in some time, change it up if you need to change it up, So I think so many times we feel like we need permission to change up our schedule or permission to do something new. But I'm here to tell you, you don't need permission. Like, you don't need permission. I felt like for me, I always felt like I needed permission and not, so to speak, to do anything I wanted to do, with my students or whatnot. So you don't need permission. You can do this any time of the year. Think about like healthy eating. Okay. Like, everybody loves to start a new diet, right? People go, oh, I'm going to do the keto diet. And they just decide to do a keto diet. So let's look at that analogy. You can start healthy eating habits at any time of the year. Typically, Most people tend to do it in January. That is a true fact. With education, most people tend to start new task around August just because that's the beginning of a school year. But you can change up your schedule at any time of the school year. So that's one thing I learned, especially my first year. I never forget. I really struggled with classroom management. That was my first time, like really having to manage on my own. And one thing that I kept telling myself was, okay, next year I'm going to do better. Next year I'm going to do this. And I wish I had somebody then tell me what I'm telling y'all now is you don't have to wait till next year. You can literally change up if something's not working, change it up you know so that's one thing I learned. So like since then, my other years of teaching, there we go, light. I have learned that I can change things up any time of the year. Like if I feel like something's not working, change. So definitely that is one tip I would give you guys. And just like with the keto eating habits, like or dieting, something doesn't work, try it long enough for it to work realistically, like a month, and then switch it up if needed. So the third lesson now kind of goes hand in hand with the schedule. You see, this is all the domino effects. So you have not knowing how to plan lessons properly, like not knowing how to properly plan a lesson. And that leads you to feeling overwhelmed. You never have enough time to do all these long things. It's kind of taking over your life. And you go from that to, or this was my struggle. I went from that to not having that consistent schedule, which led to some days we got to small group, some days we didn't get to small group. Some days I was able to teach phonics, some days I didn't teach phonics. Some days I had a great day and I got every single thing done that I was supposed to get done. And some days I didn't. So the inconsistency with the schedule, and because of that, I felt like I was overcompensating during my off time. Like I said, I was at school till 8, 9 o'clock every night, like seeing the janitors out. And it wasn't just me, it was a lot of us teachers that were doing that. And I see that so often, like teachers are there like to the wee hours because you have to plan the lessons, you have to plan materials, or you see um, you're just overwhelmed. You're grading. There's a lot on, teachers. So one thing I realized from doing that was mistake number 3, not having a work-life balance. Let me know. Can you relate to that? Can you relate to that? So, like I stated, with me, like I pretty much didn't have a life. Like my students were my life, and that was it. Um, and I see that all the time, like all the time. And so then, once I became like a mother, oh man, everything changed because having that accountability part forces you to go home. Like I had to leave by 4 o'clock because she had to be picked up by 5 o'clock. Period. So that kind of forced that whole work-life balance. And it allowed me to understand what other teachers were going through. Because I used to always see teachers like dip, like they would just be gone at the bell. And I'm like, how do y'all do that? What am I doing that is preventing me from doing what y'all are doing? Like, what are y'all doing that I need to be doing? Like, tell me. Housewife. Have you ever heard that? Housewife. But yeah, so that is what I was going through, and it was easier, being single and not having any kids because I was able to give all that extra time. But once you start having a family, you can't do that, and I see why. And then I see so many people take their work home. You guys, please don't do that. Please don't. Like if you're a teacher, make your weekends for your family. Like, for me, please, make your time with your family, Like, I'm a true believer of not bringing work home. Do what you got to do at school and be able to go home so that you can have that work life balance. Um, and know that everything's not going to get done, and it is okay. It can get done tomorrow. The world will not end if, this one sheet of paper doesn't get graded today. Now, I will say some of you guys might have like IEP deadlines. I'm not talking about that. That's a legal manner that does have to get done on time. But even with that, plan properly. Like, do a little bit each day so that it's not so much, right? When you have to turn in an IEP. And become that person that leaves early. Like, if you're a parent and you work all the time, you can apply these same things. Like, set designated time to plan and just know, like, it's okay. Like, everything is a process. I am giving y'all all these mistakes. That's another thing that I had to learn. Everything is a process and it will be okay. It's a hard lesson to learn. So overall, I had to learn how to write lesson plans where they didn't take over my life. So lesson number 1, you master your lesson planning process. Have a systematic system of planning lessons and activities. Like I say, right now, I've done it as a teacher for years, and now I'm doing it as a mom. Like, have a systematic way to plan lessons where it doesn't take you hours and doesn't consume, who you are and what you're doing. And then have that consistent schedule so that you can actually implement the things that you plan to do. So that you're not feeling yourself just like me. Like, I felt like I didn't have enough time. I felt like, oh, well, I'm never going to get to it anyways. Like, I just felt lost, confused, no lack of structure. Like, have y'all ever felt like this? It felt lost, honestly. It seems like there's not a lot of support, especially for teachers. I feel like the teacher support teachers is very low, and it's like all these things coming at you because it's domino effects, you know. I was talking about the domino effects in my last video. That's one reason that I love being in the classroom, and even in the school system, because there's a lot of domino effects. And, people outside of education that they believe one thing, then, it just comes down the pipe hole. So you have that, you know what I mean? And figure out what works best for you and what works best for your children. And create a schedule based around that. And if you have to close your door and do what you do best. I'm giving you permission. Do what you do best. Because nobody knows you and your children like you do. So let me be your cheerleader right now. Oh, this does not make sound. Y'all, they don't even make noise. I thought they were going to go, y'all know the ones that blow? Oh, well, yeah, I just bought these for y'all this morning. So, but do what works best for you. Learn from me. I feel like so many of us always try to please other people. Don't be a people pleaser. Please yourself. Please your kids. Do what you feel is best, and don't let anybody tell you differently. Take it from me. And then, of course, have that work-life schedule. Like, keep yourself first. Always keep yourself first. It's hard because naturally, as people, we want to put others above us. But I'm here to tell you today, put yourself first, because if you're dead and gone today, you will be replaced tomorrow. And that's just a fact. If you're not giving yourself that work-life balance with your family, you're going to end up filled with regret, bitterness, and resentment later on, when you're like, oh, I don't remember when my child was younger. I wasn't really there, so forth. Oh, hey, Sean. Yes. So I'm just sharing for those of you that just jumped in. We're definitely talking about the 3 mistakes I've learned from teaching both in the classroom and as a parent. And then it's also like my 2-year YouTube versary. I have balloons set up and lights, but I think because of the sunlight and the positioning, didn't really turn out as festive as I planned on this turning out, but I tried. I tried, y'all. I tried. I tried to make this a party, like an online party. So definitely. But definitely create a system that works best for you, whether you're a teacher or a parent. Create a system of creating lessons, creating all 12 parts of a lesson and being able to do that quickly so that you can have that work-life balance. And then have a schedule in which you can actually implement those lessons. So for me, I went through this the hard way as a teacher. I'm glad I went through this while I didn't have kids. I will say that because I was able to kind of master it over time. But I went through the phase of feeling lost. I went through the phase of being overwhelmed. I went through the phase of really my classroom was running me. I wasn't running my classroom. In fact, I know we're not talking about behavior management right now, but you guys, I was that person that had to go to the Dollar Tree every day to buy my students something because that was the only way that they would listen during the lesson. Like I had to bribe them. I didn't know how to manage a classroom. I didn't know how to set up systems. I was figuring it out. I feel like I was sinking. You know, they say sink or swim. I was sinking. I was definitely sinking. So but I had to figure out what worked best for me. And it took some time. For me, it took a few years. By year 3, I had it though. By year 3, I had that thing. Really by year 2, because I did so much year 2. I was like, I'm never letting kids do that again. No, 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 no. But yeah, definitely perfected by year 3. And so since then I've been able to teach, others how to perfect it in their classrooms as well. So you can definitely take these both inside and out the classroom. Now, I will state with all these mistakes that I've made personally, with the lesson planning, the having a schedule, I am currently working on a program to give you guys for if you are just like me, like if you are one that experienced these things. And I wanted to create something free for you guys. So I actually did a poll on my YouTube community tab. So please answer that poll. Today, like right now, well, after this video rather, because this week, and I want to make something for you guys because I know that there's a lot of you guys out there that have said kind of the same things, that you're struggling with the same thing. So I definitely want to help you guys out. So make sure you do that poll so that I can make you guys something. So what's on the poll is if you would rather a lesson plan guide where I kind of walk you through all of the 12 essential parts of a lesson plan. And even if you're a parent, you have to understand, I think parents use the terminology activities more, but activities go in a lesson. Like you just can't just do an activity and expect the child to just learn. No, you have to kind of put it in a structured lesson format in order for them to really, really grasp hold and understand that concept. So that's why I say lesson, but it can be applied in both situations. So if you want me to do a guide where I just kind of walk you through all 12 parts, if you would like just a lesson plan template so that you can do all 12 parts, if you would like me to do 5 activities that you can use for any standard, just 5 activities, your go-to activities. Or what was the other one? Oh, or if you want me to give you 5 really cool websites that have lessons on them. So make sure you do that community post so that you can give me your input so that we can get this down. So we can all have work-life balance. We can all put our families first, master our schedule. have these lessons not run us. So yeah, we're in this together. And if you have not, please check out my videos for this week. This week, I did give you some Zoom games for all my teachers that are out there doing distance learning. And I've also given you 4 ways to effectively teach sight words. And I did switch up my oh, yay, yay. Hey, Russell. I did switch up my uploading schedule. So I upload new videos Tuesdays and Thursdays, and I'll be doing these lives every Friday, 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So make sure you guys are back here next Friday. And yay, happy YouTube birthday. I really wish this made noise. Woo! Okay, thank you guys for celebrating with me. See you later.